he was like a big part of this scene, and then all these people started moving in who were just these like fresh-faced kids with like a new approach to BMX, and I was like,
That's my crew, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was like Marv turned up at a skate park one day and he was like, "Can I borrow your bike?" And I was like, "What? Like, who the fuck are you?" Like, what? Who the fuck is this kid? Like, and he's like, "I've just moved to Sheffield to study physics." And he's like, "I'm a BMXer." And I'm like, "Where's your bike then?" He's like, "He's been nicked." And I'm like, No. He's like, no BMXer would let their bike, no like self-respecting BMXer would let their bike be nicked. Here's what happened, because you'd never not be with it. Like, and he's like, "Yeah, my bike's been nicked." And I'm like, "You're not a BMXer. Like,
You're going to nick my bike."
But like, yeah, he kind of rode my bike, and then a few weeks later, he was on like a, what do you call it, you visit unis, and it was like day.
Oh yeah.
And like like a visiting day. And a few weeks later, he just turned up on his bike. He's like, "I got my bike back." Like, what the fuck? And then Marv moved down, and then like Joe. I can't remember like the whole like how it happened, but suddenly there was
a big scene there.
Just like it seemed like overnight.
And new like young guys as well, weren't they? All around the same sort of age.
First year students, so 18.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they all moved in, and they didn't give a fuck about the old Sheffield like hierarchy.
Yeah.
They didn't care. And I think a lot of people like George didn't care. They were a bit older. They were like, they probably thought it was a bit daft and funny, and like, they kind of like looked past it. But like that in the middle bit, a lot of people didn't like it. It shook the scene a bit.
Because it does happen.
Yeah, you just get these people moving in, and they're like,
Who was between you and George? Like, what was that crew?
So Craig Sanderson, who was amazing, he was such a good BMXer. I don't think he quite took to it. He didn't quite take, because he was like very much involved in his punk scene, even if he wasn't like a massively involved in like the boozy side of it. But he was like definitely like they were more his mates, I could, and then this guy Jim. Tom as well. Who was
so what were they, like 5 years older than you, or a bit more?
5 years older, same age to 5 years older. I guess it's just like how you like what you were into. Like, there was a big punk scene in Sheffield, like a big squat punk scene. Like, it was a really big part of like Sheffield. Like, it's easy to squat in Sheffield. Like, so like there was so much empty warehouse space and stuff like that. Like, that scene was quite big, and it was quite.
That's thriving there,
yeah, it's quite linked up to like the BMX scene. There was like a big sort of like lineage of it, like that was kind of like linked up a bit, and I was kind of like part of that a little bit, but I was never like fully involved in it because it just seemed like it was something else to BMX scene. It wasn't like I couldn't quite like get fully involved in it because I wasn't like fully behind the music, and I wasn't like fully behind like the scene. It was just something to do when you weren't riding. But I mean, it was amazing. It was a really good scene, It was a really good scene. But at that age, when you're like 17, you're like, all you want to do is ride.
Yeah.
You just didn't give a shit about anything else.
So who was moved? Rob he'd moved.
Rob, I'm not sure if Rob moved. He moved very soon after that. Rob, I'm speaking to him earlier actually, and he reminded me that like the whole hate house was like I rang him to tell him that there was a space in the house at the time. He's like, "You rang me to say there's a space in what became the hate house." Like, I rang him up and he's like, "Oh, he's like a house."
I thought he was the founder, yeah.
Well, he kind of was, but he just got his name. But it's like, "You rang me to say there's a space in the house of like Marv and that," and then he moved in.
Oh, okay.
And then like people like Mike Taylor moved down quite early on. Joe, and then I think, because of all them people, quite like big characters, it just attracted more and more people.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't staying, they're like visiting.
Yeah. What about Josh Bedford? Was he from Sheffield?
So, I'm glad you mentioned Josh actually. So Josh was actually someone who I've known for like years. Like, he was actually the only BMXer I knew who, bear in mind, like I'm probably like 6-7 years older than Josh. Josh used to come to my jumps when I was like a naive BMXer, and he'd be like, "What's this?"
Oh, he's a tiny kid then.
Yeah, I mean, not tiny, but
Yeah.
he's like just so he's like scrawny kid. I'd be like, you know, you got, you know, telling Josh to dig his jumps, and he's just like, I mean, it's so funny. Like, you'd never picked up a BMX magazine, you never knew, but you knew if you fucking rode them jumps, you dug. Like, it wasn't even like it was almost like. It was inbuilt in BMXers. Like, you didn't even need to see. No one needed to tell you. Like, if you turned up 3 times, like, next time you dug. Like, so it was like. And Josh would turn up and I'd be like, right, mate, like, we've got to, you know, if you're going to be, you've got to dig some jumps. And he'd stay for a bit and he couldn't stop chatting and he'd dig for a bit. And he'd be like, yeah, actually, Benson, like. But we kind of stayed mates because where I grew up, like, on this golf course, with like these woods in the middle and Josh was from the other side. But yeah, I knew Josh from like really, really early on.